Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we have a literacy video and we're going to be using my big pile of books that I have here to explore fiction and non-fiction and what that means. A non-fiction book is a book that has lots of facts in it. It's telling us something. It might have pictures in it that are labelled, it might have bullet points, it might have titles on the different pages that are talking about different things. So non-fiction books are books that we are learning something from. They're fact books. Fiction books, on the other hand, are books that have stories in them. They might be things like The Gruffalo. They could be stories like Room on the Broom. They could be stories like How to Train Your Dragon. All of these are storybooks. You are reading them, you have to read them in the correct order to make sure that the story makes sense, and these are fiction books. Now what we are going to do today is I have been around my house and got a big pile of books, and we're going to have a look at them and split them into either fiction or non-fiction. And we're going to have a quick look at each one to see how we can tell if they're fiction or non-fiction. Okay, the first book, we'll start with the big one on the bottom, is this book. Now this book is called The World Encyclopedia, and an encyclopedia has lots of different information in it. It tells you lots of different things, and this one is all about the world. So inside, if I open it up, we can see we've got pictures, we've got subheadings, which are lots of little bits to tell you about different aspects of what we're learning. So this bit's all about China, and in it we've got a map, and it's telling us about China here and what it's like. We've got the history of China. So we've got lots of different information about it in here. Do you think that this would be a fiction book or a non-fiction book? Is it a storybook made up, or does it have facts in it? My World Encyclopedia has lots and lots of facts in it, so that makes it a non-fiction book. Okay, the next book, take it from the top, is Scooby-Doo. Now I'm sure you've all heard of Scooby-Doo. If you've not read a Scooby-Doo book, I'm sure you will have watched it on TV. So Scooby-Doo has lots and lots of friends that he goes and solves mysteries with. And do we think, are these real mysteries that he's solving? Are these stories, or are these things that have actually happened? What do you think? When I look inside the book, we've got lots of writing and we've got some pictures, but we don't have any facts or any bullet points, and you would have to read it in order to be able to understand what is happening. I can't just open it halfway through and know what's been happening. So this one would be a fiction book. It's made up, it's a story, it's fiction. Next book we have is this one called How to Twist a Dragon's Tail. Now this one is a little bit confusing because if you read the title you might think it's telling you how to do something, and it is, but when you look inside we have pictures and lots of writing, but we don't have any facts, we don't have any bullet points. It's telling you a story. You have to read it in the correct order. So this one is a storybook. Do you remember what storybooks are? Fact or fiction? No, sorry. Non-fiction or fiction? Storybooks are fiction. Next off my pile, I have this book, and this is a book all about birds. So we've got lots of pictures on the front of birds, and when we look inside, we've got pictures of the birds. We've got little maps of where they come from and some information about them. So do we think this is a storybook? Is it telling us a story, or is it telling us facts about all these different birds? This book is telling us facts. It's telling us about where the birds come from and what they look like. So if it's a fact book, we know that that must be non-fiction. Next up we have a tiny little book, and this book is all about wildflowers. So if we look inside, we've got pictures of flowers and we've got some information about them. So it's telling me that this one is a pink flower, that you can find it all over the place. And it's got lots of pictures of different flowers and lots of information. So, do we think this is a storybook? It's not a storybook. It's telling us information and facts, so it must be a non-fiction book. My next books that I'm going to take are actually 5 books altogether. So I'm going to take them out of here. I'll show you what these books are. This book is a book of fairy tales. Fairy tales are like stories. This one is called The Spider's Palace, and it's a story as well. We have The Happy Prince and Other Stories, so we know that it's a story. English fairy tales, so again, stories. And The Princess Splendor and Other Stories. So all of these books are storybooks. You have to read them in the right order, and they've been made up. They're made up stories. So we know that stories, are they non-fiction or fiction? Stories are fiction books. Finally, we have one last book, and I think this is my favourite book. It's called Your First Kitten. So this book has got lots of pictures of cats and of kittens, and it's telling you about how to look after kittens when you get them. It's telling you about what you need to feed them, what you need to give them to make sure they're comfy in their bed, and how you look after them. So, is this a storybook, or is this telling you facts about how to look after a kitten? This book has got facts in it. We know that fact books are non-fiction, so it goes in our non-fiction pile. I had that kitten book when I first got my cat, called Tiny, and it helped me to look after him. He's a bit sleepy just now, but I thought I'd show you him because I've told you about him before. You can have a shot at home at picking some books and trying to sort them into fiction and into non-fiction. And there's also an activity on our Teams page for you to try and solve the books that are fiction and the ones that are non-fiction. If you have any questions about this activity, then as always get in touch and I will do my very best to help you, and I will see you very soon. Bye!